Good morning and welcome to the Yarn Waffle podcast. My name is Liz Ward. I'm a crochet designer living in York in the UK, and this is my podcast where I talk about what I've been creating over the past few weeks. We are on episode 18, so welcome back to anyone who's watched before, and welcome to anyone who's starting with this episode. I hope you enjoy it, I hope you stick with us, click the subscribe. Yeah, welcome. We are still under the lockdown restrictions in the UK because of COVID-19. So that means I have pretty much been in my house by myself with my two cats for the past 2 months. I'm fine. I'm not going completely crazy, although I do feel like I have more conversations with cats than humans. In fact, I definitely do have more conversations with cats than humans at the moment, but that's no bad thing. My cats will be making an appearance at some point. I know that Puka is playing outside. She only plays in the backyard. She's not big enough yet to get onto the fence, so she's perfectly safe out there, even though she's still a little kitten. And Cal's just gone into the spare room. It was just where I was looking. She was interested. She may come back. We shall see. But yes, this is called the Yarn Waffle podcast for a reason. I tend to waffle on. If you're not here for that, I understand. If you are, you know what to expect. There is much knitting. There is no crochet this week. I haven't even picked up a hook in the past couple of weeks. Most of the crochet work that I've been doing the past couple of weeks has been admin based. There's been a lot of people have been buying kits from my website. All my social media and website information will be on the screen. And yeah, I sell kits, and I think with a lot of people being at home themselves, we're all at home at the moment, that they've wanted to, you know, create things, and having kits available for that has been really popular. So yeah, mainly my work has been packing kits and getting those out, and admin based website stuff and things like that. So not a lot creatively crochet happening at the moment. A lot of hand waving going on. But that said, there has been plenty of knitting happening. So let's crack off with the finished objects. And I'll start with socks, because I tend to start with socks. I think it's a sad episode if I don't have at least a pair of finished socks. Excuse me while I rummage for sock blockers. Oh. It's got a sock hanging on it. I now have sock blockers, and we have socks. And these are the Rose City Rollers. All the pattern information will be on the screen. And these are knit in Rhapsody yarn in the colourway Skittle Summer, or Summer Skittles, something along those lines. It's very much a rainbow, but when it's knit up, it stripes in this way. Yes, I just hit myself in the face. Okay, we're doing well. Yeah, let me just hold one at a time. It's probably safer. Yeah, so you can see it's pulled in this way that gives it stripes, but you can see more of the way it has the rainbow effect on the, what's this called? What's this called? Heel and toe. Doing well. Yeah. So I really like these. This is the second pair of Rose City Rollers I've made. I think these ones I will be keeping. The other pair are definitely going to Mum. And I knit them according to pattern. I don't think I deviated at all. It's 2.25mm needles. I'm not sure what the US equivalent is. 64 stitches. You cast on and knit, I think she says just about a few centimetres. I did 20 rows. So. And then you do the heel flap and heel flap and gusset. There you go, proper English, Liz. And then your heel decreases, knit on down the foot until you get to the toe, and it's a normal wedge toe there. And I actually really like the way the colours have changed in the toes. I think they did it in both of them, so that you get a really nice rainbow effect at the end. Yeah, really simple. This is a free pattern. Like I said, I'll put all the details on the screen, and if I forget to put them on the screen, they will be in the description box below, so just click the down bar and you'll find everything on there. But yeah, Rose City Rollers. Probably not the last pair I make. These are really nice just to have on the needles because they knit up so fast and it's fun to use happy yarn with. And yeah, I have a few skeins of happy yarn that will definitely be Rose City rollers in the future. I think she also has some variations on this pattern, so I'm going to be heading on to Ravelry to check those out. That'll be nice and fun. But yeah, Rose City rollers, first finished object of the week. There is more. And yes, I hit myself in the face with the top blockers again. Yeah, sorry if there's loads of cuts in this episode. I normally prepare a bit better than this. It's only been 2 weeks and I'm already out of practice. Yeah, so second finished object is another pair of socks. And these are the Schindler's List colourway from Giddy Yarns. I always get Giddy Yarn and Giddy Yarns mixed up. Terrible. Yeah, Giddy Yarns. I think I've got some more of her yarns. Giddy Yarns! Yeah, all the information, as I say, will be either on the screen or down below. And last year she ran a film club, and I think this was one of the last ones of the year when it was for self-striping yarn. And you got a 50-gram ball of yarn and a mini. Words. Yeah, I used the mini that came with the set in my Mitre Square blanket, which I'll be showing you later today. And so I was actually going to do the heels, toes and cuffs in a black, but I found this really nice charcoal, which is actually an opal. So it's a plain coloured opal, and it's really nice. It's a really lovely charcoal colour, and it just goes with these absolutely perfectly. These were knit as a sock tube, so I did a provisional cast on. Crochet cast on is my favourite, and just knit the whole 50-gram ball of yarn into a long tube, and then it lived in a project bag as a tube for about 3 months. So you may well have seen this tube before on the podcast. As before, these were knit on 2.25mm needles. I tend to knit all my socks on a 2.25mm needle. They are looking a bit baggy on the sock blockers. I don't know if you can see that. I am thinking of going down to a 2mm, but then they fit my feet completely fine. I think I shouldn't be worried about the aesthetic on a sock blocker, really. Yeah, so another pair of finished socks. I really enjoy knitting self-striping as a sock tube. I find it a really relaxing thing to do because you're just going round and round and you don't have to think about the actual finishing. And when it did come around to doing the finishing, this just took a couple of days to put in the cuff. Yes, with the cuff I picked up and I knit, I think I did about 14 rows, and then I did a stretchy bind off. It is really stretchy, it's really nice. Don't they look good? These were going to be for a friend of mine, but I decided that I wanted to keep them for myself because I don't have many socks. This pile of socks isn't so big it's falling over. I just wanted them for me. I knit them. I think I've been generous enough with my knits this week, as you will see with my next finished object. Okay, so on the last episode, if you saw that, I showed that I had started the body of my Auster sweater, which is a pattern by Michelle Wang for Brooklyn Tweed. Yeah, it's an all-over man's cable jumper, although anybody could wear it. It's just a straight body, no shaping, raglan sleeved, fully cabled sweater. No cables on the sleeves. I had previously knit the sleeves and then I had stalled on starting the body. I explained all this on the last episode, so if you want to know about that, go and watch that then. So yeah, last time I had started the body and I theorised that technically, because it took me a day to work one repeat of the cable pattern, I could finish the sweater in 2 weeks. Thought that was bonkers talk, but technically it could be done. I did it! I wasn't challenging myself. I wasn't, you know, it wasn't the plan to finish it in that time. There was no real sort of deadline, so to speak, because with us being in lockdown, this is for a friend of mine and I won't get to see him until those restrictions are lifted. But I did sort of self-impose the deadline that I would like it to be finished by the time that lockdown is finished, so I can actually give it to him as a present to wear in summer. This big cabled beautiful sweater. I mean, it is huge. I have tried this on and it did slightly swamp me, but I mean, he's a big guy, so I'm hoping it won't be too huge on him. And I also imagined it would be the type of thing he'd probably want to wear over a shirt or something. It does have really long arms, but you can roll sleeves up. I have told him if it is too big, too long in the sleeve, I will perform some sort of surgery and shorten the sleeves if they're too long and far too long to roll up. But anyway, let me talk about this. Let me take it off the hanger. Yeah, so this is the Auster sweater. This is the front. Sorry if there's a little bit of a weird line in it. I didn't block it very brilliantly. It was taking forever to dry. And now we've got beautiful sunny days and it would have dried instantly. But yeah, the body is a all over cable pattern. It's called a vine pattern. I'm just going to have to hide behind it. I think that's the best way to do it, although it might blow out completely. It smells lovely. The yarn that I used is, I think I brought up a ball of it. See, I'm prepared in some ways. Yeah, it is the Drops Nepal, and it is colour number 8906. And it is a really dark green, sort of heathered tweedy type effect. There we go, that's nice. Yeah, that's pretty good colour representation. That it's a very what I sold it to him as is like an old man gardening jumper. You know, the type of jumper that you'll still be wearing in 30 years, and it'll have like leather elbow patches and darning patches. And this sort of vision, because I mean, he's a young man, but you know, he doesn't act like a young man. He acts like an old man in his garden. But yeah, this sort of vision, I didn't 100% know where it had come from and why, you know, wanting to make this jumper. And I was watching The Good Life, which is an old 70s sitcom the other day, and Tom Good, one of the main characters in it, the one that is the home farmer. I'm saying all words wrong today. But yeah, Tom Good, the main character, is wearing a jumper this exact green, and it is like patched and holed and darned in places, and I was just like, yeah, that's where the inspiration for this came from. So I did tell my friend, I was like, I think I'm making you Tom Good's sweater. He was all for that. But yeah, it was an absolute joy to knit. When I came to casting on the body, I omitted the salvage stitches to go down the edge for when you join it together, and I just cast on the full amount, because the back and the front are worked the same until you split. And well, you're not splitting on here, you're just starting the raglan decreases. But yeah, up until that point, the front and the back are completely the same. So I knit that all in the round, and it really didn't take long. The cable pattern is really fun to do. It's intuitive but it's not exactly memorizable. But it only really took me looking at the chart to go, oh, I'm on that row. And there were quite a few rows where after a while I knew what row was coming next and what I was doing. And that was even more the case when I started working flat for the top and going back and forth. It just became, as knitting it, it became more and more intuitive, and it became a lot faster to knit, but throughout it was thoroughly enjoyable. The other thing that I learned while making this was that cable charts are brilliant. I know I'm not a new knitter, but I'm a knitter that is learning a lot at the moment. I feel it anyway. But when I didn't realise that knitting cable charts meant anything. I just thought that was the symbol they used. But it's not. That symbol shows how the fabric actually moves. Game changer for me. I mean, I honestly thought I was the most idiotic person to have not realised it before, but then I realised that I've never heard it be said before. Oh, well, just follow the picture, it shows you how to move that cable. And, you know, it will show you if you're moving the cable and you're knitting behind or you're purling behind, because it'll either be shaded in the symbol or it'll all be the same colour. It's just, I mean, complete and utter game changer, because other times I've done cable patterns, I get the right words. When I've done cable patterns in the past, I've had to memorise what the symbol means, but that would always start with the start of the pattern going, okay, that symbol, and then reading it. That symbol and reading it. And now that I've learned that the symbol tells you what it means, it's just brilliant. It's just like, it was just one of those moments where I was just like, I feel stupid, but also, this is brilliant. You can literally just follow the chart. Yeah, it was a complete game changer moment. So yes, this is the Auster sweater. It is massive. I very much doubt I will ever get a picture of my friend Richard wearing it. He is very camera shy. He is a beautiful man, but yeah, getting a picture of him is not going to happen. He has seen it in pictures. He likes it, which is good. I've taken some nice pictures. Hopefully I'll put some big ones on screen now so you can have a proper look at it. But yeah, if I ever get one in future, I will put it up on my Instagram. Do follow me on Instagram if you're not already. But it's unlikely. Yeah. But how about that? A cabled man's sweater in 2 weeks, minus the sleeves. It really does smell nice. It's kind of sheepy but wool wash as well. Yeah. I'm back. I just wanted to go get a glass of water and check what Puka was doing, as she'd been outside a while, and she was fishing for a bee in the bucket that gets the drip. There's a drip outside my house and I have a bucket underneath it. It collects rainwater, but it's really just a drip. And yeah, a bee had fallen in the bucket and Puka was trying to fish it out. So she's a bit wet. Yeah. Do you want to show? Do you want to show your wet paws off? Yeah. Wet kitty paws. She has a new collar, which is way too big for her. But like the evil mother that I am, I was like, well, you're wearing it. I'm not getting you another one. You'll grow into it. And so it is attached, the too long strap is attached with a hair tie. And she looks like a kid in its dad's coat. But, or one of those sort of cartoon dogs with the long neck and the way too big collar. Yeah. And now she's walking all over my knits with her wet feet. But never mind. So yes, I am back with works in progress, and it is May. It is May the 6th, if I didn't say that at the beginning of the podcast, probably didn't. So it's time for my monthly update on my mitered square blanket. This is a blanket I'm working on every day. I like to put at least one square a day in on it. During lockdown I have had weeks where I've been putting in up to 3 squares a day. Definitely usually about 2. So it's growing faster at the moment. You alright, love? Alright, darling. Can you sit on your chair? No. But yeah, I sort of finangled the rate on which I was knitting it on it this week, because I worked out that if I timed it rightly, which I did, I would have finished the second quarter today, this morning, which I did. So yeah, so this is, there are no needles attached this time, and I have finished the second quarter, which is, this is definitely going to hide me behind it, so this is the second quarter. I just all hide behind it. And it goes on and on and on. And if you can see, this is a join between the first and second quarter, and I don't know if you can see, but the direction of the mitered square changes to create a chevron, create a V, and that will be, I'll be turning that again on the next quarter, so that eventually it will form diamonds like this. Concentric diamonds. See, I get words correct when I'm not worrying where my kitten is. But yeah, this is huge already. My mitered squares are 23 stitches on each side. I pick up 23 stitches, and that gives me a square which is about 8 centimetres square. So it will be just under 2 meters square when it's finished, although I will be adding like a log cabin type border to it. I alternate the colours. It's all hand-dyed yarn. Puka is now climbing my legs, so if I accidentally swear, I apologise. She's got very sharp claws. There are a lot of ends dangling off this, which is just an absolute dream come true to a little kitten. It's all she wants to play with. Anything dangly, anything yarny. Stitch markers. I cannot have dangly stitch markers on any projects anymore unless I want them to be ripped apart. Yeah, Puka rules in this house now. But she's adorable and she's so entertaining. Come up, darling. Stop hanging off me. Go on, just claw up Richard's jumper. He won't mind. Can I sit in that little box? Yes, what was I saying? Yeah, I alternate greys and hand-dyed colours. Other than that, I do no colour management whatsoever. Sometimes I will pick what colour I want to work on, depending on, you know, if I want something bright to cheer myself up that day, and or, you know, if I just want to work with one of the yarns for one of my favourite dyers. So some of these I've also dyed myself. I dyed some of the greys myself, and yeah, I just absolutely love it. This is the face of someone whose knee just got clawed by lots of little clawy things, and it's still being clawed. Puka. Ow! No, 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 no. Right. Oh, that was a mistake. Right, what can I give you? Normally I have a toy that I can give her to calm her down. Oh, because she's not supposed to bite me, she's supposed to bite toys. But that doesn't always work. I'm now using the blanket to protect my knees. This has got lots of cat scratches on it. There's no way to go, you know, they sit on it every morning as well while I'm knitting on it. But yeah, the way I work my squares is I finish the square I picked up the day before, first thing in the morning, and then I pick up the next square. So that means that the first thing I'm doing in the morning is not picking up stitches, which is the last thing I want to be doing first thing in the morning, and it also means that 10-15 minutes worth of knitting and I've actually finished something first thing in the morning. Then it's very rare I don't have the motivation to pick up the next square, because if I didn't pick up the next square I would lose my tiny stitch marker, and I have already lost a few of those. Yeah, I'm actually thinking, because I haven't picked up a square today because I wanted to show it, because this is like half finished and I haven't picked up my next square, so already this morning was just like, this is weird, and I don't know what I did with that tiny stitch marker. I'm knitting this on 2.5mm needles. I don't know if I said that. I'm using, I think, a 16-inch fixed circular. It just works really well for it. But yeah, that is how I get my motivation to do this every day. Mainly because it is, it doesn't feel like I'm knitting a square. Technically I'm just finishing the one from yesterday. And then depending on how I feel or how much time I have in the morning, I can pick up the next square and I can work a few rows on it. I can work half of it, I can finish another square and pick up a third. That is how my motivation for this works, and it's going great. I have tried making a mitered square blanket before and I don't think I got past 4 squares. It just didn't work for me that time, but this time it really has worked. It also motivates me with the overall pattern, with that sort of concentric diamonds. I think that's going to look really pretty when it's finished. Yeah. It's also very cozy. It's just a nice moment in the morning because the cats are used to it now. Is that really for scratching? I'm being terrorised today. It's my fault. I took her away from the bee. I should have left her outside. Go play with Captain America. Can I not give you something to play with? Lollipop? She would eat that as well. She's got the weirdest eating habits for a cat. Oh, I know. Here. Lost that. Yes, she does have the weirdest eating habits for a cat. She's on a raw food cat diet. She won't eat anything that remotely resembles biscuits or packet cat food. She won't even, you know, you can see her nose turning up when she sniffs it. It's just not happening. Yeah, anything that is human food is fair game, no matter what it is. She definitely doesn't think she's a cat. So yeah, that is my mitered square blanket update for May. And what other works in progress do I have to show you? Well, I might as well stick to blankets while I'm talking blankets. And on the last episode I cast on a Habitation throat, which is a pattern by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade podcast. And she released this pattern at the beginning or end of last year, and it was meant for Advent minis. And she recently made it into a free pattern. I think it was for all of April that she had this as a free pattern, so I picked it up then. And I cast it on in this, which is the King Cole Curiosity DK, which is a caked yarn, and this is called the creme brulee colour. It's really pretty, peaches and cream sort of colours. Sorry, I'm being clawed. I had 2 cakes of this that I had picked up for a crochet design, but the design just never came into my head of what I wanted to do with it. So it was just sitting on the side, and when I got this pattern I thought, well, I'm going to make a blanket. That might be a good excuse to use that up, because I know I'll get a nice gradient and it'd be really pretty. And on the last episode of the podcast I had knit a full cake into this, and I think it was just under or just over a metre long. So I had decided to get one more cake to make it bigger, and then start decreasing from there. When I ordered, I actually ordered 2. I don't remember ordering 2, but 2 turned up and there was 2 on my order and I paid for 2. So I thought, well, it's just going to end up being even bigger still. And this is really difficult to show because it is on a circular needle, all bunched up. But yeah, let me show it like this. That's probably the easiest way. I think that is also the wrong way around. Yep, although I prefer that way around. You can't really tell apart from in the eyelet section, because it has like a pearl side and a, not a pearl side, just where the side where the pearl bumps go. One makes the channels deeper. Okay, can you see on that either side of the eyelets you've got a knit row so that your channels are deeper? That's the wrong side. And on this side, either side of the eyelets, you've got a pearl bump row so your channels aren't as deep. And that is the right side, but I actually prefer the wrong side. That is just my preference, but it's very similar to the technique that I used in my raven shawl. If you've seen my knitting pattern for the raven shawl, that's the technique I had of playing with where you place the garter, the knits and the pearl ridges. In order to get those techniques when working with eyelets. And yeah, so it's something that I really enjoy. This also has a I-cord edge which you work as you're going along. It's really easy. I am just past the middle point and have started to decrease, that's the hair, and haven't got much further. I try to work a repeat every night. So I try and, get to an eyelet section. There are some eyelet sections which are wider than others because I forgot I was meant to be doing them. And yeah, so it is gonna, this bit here, this weird bit where the gradient goes funny, that was just a manufacturer's break in the ball. So it's not gonna go like completely perfectly from cream all the way through the colours to cream at the end, but I don't mind. That sort of thing does not bother me in the slightest. It's just going to be a pretty throw, but yeah, if you saw last week's, please do go back and have a watch of it if you haven't. I think we can definitely say this is definitely blanket size now. It was cot blanket size last week. But yeah, that is the point where I changed into the new cake. So the new cake has only done 1/2 metre. But yeah, enough to call it definitely a blanket now. So yeah, that's all the blankets I have on the needles, just these 2 massive ones. No, I'm not joking, I really want to cast on another blanket. Not cast on, I want to do a crochet one. I talked about it a few episodes back and it's still in my mind. I just haven't decided. I think it's because I've got so much cotton yarn, but I don't want a cotton blanket. I kind of want it in pure wool and I kind of want it in jewel tones. Yeah, but I think I've decided on the pattern that I'm gonna do. By the way, crochet tangent, blanket tangent, what am I showing you? Okay, socks. And yeah, this is this project bag is a Japanese knot bag, and I meant to show this on the last episode, but Puka had knocked it on the floor, so when I was doing the acquisitions it was hiding and I didn't get a chance to show it. And I actually won this. This was made by Nicola, who is so beautiful, by Nicola. There we go, and I will put the details in the down bar as well. And it was a prize from Dr. Sockstagram and her second sock along, which I entered a pair of socks for. There was meant to be another pair that I was supposed to finish the second one on, still haven't finished it. But yeah, I won a prize and I won this, which is a little Japanese knot bag, and it's absolutely glorious. And what it is it's got like one long handle and one short handle, and then you just thread them through and they go like that, and then you can keep it on your wrist while you're knitting. And I also got a pattern which I will be showing on the next episode because I will have cast that on by then. But yeah, it's a really pretty colourwork sock pattern that I got to pick, and it was really lovely. Yeah, I'll have cast that on by the next episode, so I'll be showing that. That will live in here because these won't be living in here very long, as one of them is already finished. Now, where are the sock blockers that kept hitting me in the face? Okay, so this was another sock tube, like the Giddy Yarns ones that I showed earlier, the black and white ones. And this is using self-striping yarn by the Yarn Badger, and it was her Wham Cal Advent colourway, which was a 24 stripe self-striping yarn. And after finishing the socks, I don't know what's wrong with me and words today, probably because I haven't spoken to many humans. Or even spoken for this long, for 2 weeks. Yeah. After finishing the Advent socks, I had 2 balls left over of the wool. This was how much I had left on one of them, and the other one I had about 30 grams left. And so I did think about just knitting that up into a tube, but I didn't think it would be long enough to get a pair of socks out of by itself. So what I decided to do was I decided to stripe every 2 rows with an undyed sock yarn. And that gave me this really nice 2x2 effect. It took me a while to, sorry if you can hear cats, they're having a bit of a kerfuffle. It took me a while to decide what to do about heels, toes and cuffs. I was going to go for a plain colour but couldn't decide which with all these colours in here. It was difficult to choose. But then what I actually realised is I probably had enough of the self-striping, so that's what I've used. And I think they look rather lovely. This is the first one that is finished. I did the heel of this morning, and I made a bit of a mistake. So yeah, there wasn't a pattern to this, it's just a 64 stitch tube that I then went in and did everything after. But obviously, let me just take this off the sock blocker so I can show you. When you are switching yarns, you are carrying it down the back, like so, which is absolutely fine. And it does leave a little spine, but I think that's quite pretty. And yeah, I didn't really think anything about it, apart from when I had put in the cuff and the toe. Visual aids are useful. And then I thought I might struggle to put in the heel because of the joins between those yarns, because there were every 2 rows where I had carried the yarn there was only a tiny bit. And I don't know if you've ever done an afterthought heel, but you pick up 1 row of stitches, you leave a row, and then you pick up another row of stitches on half of the foot, and then you take out that central row, and that gives you live stitches on both of your needles, and then you can start knitting your sock in knitting your heel in the round. But if I did that with this, which was 2x2, I was going to end up with no yarn of one of the colours to sew in that end because of the way that I've joined them over. So I thought I was being very clever, and I picked up the stitches, then I left 2 rows, so I had 1 row of colour, 1 row of undyed, and then picked them up. That did not work. And if I can, I will put you a picture on the screen of the end mess that I ended up with. I ended up having to take out 4 rows, I think, to be able to get enough yarn of each colour to then weave in the ends, which, because I was only taking out half of the stitches of those 4 rows, left me with about 12 ends to sew in. So yeah. I have woven in some of them. It's fairly atrocious. I mean, yeah. It's also not great, because what it meant was then I had to pick up along that gap, which has given me... it's not great, is it? It's not horrendous, but it's not great. They are functional socks, but they will always have a bit of a weak point there. So they will be for me, and they may require darning more often than other socks in future. But if I know that, I probably just won't wear them as often. So yeah. I could have got these finished if I recorded a bit later today. I have nearly finished the second one. It has a toe, and I have just got the ribbing to do. I'm doing 14 rows of ribbing, knit 2, purl 2, and then I've got to go through the faff of doing that heel again. It'll be fine. These will be done. They won't be perfect, but they'll be for me, and that's fine. I don't mind that. If I was to do this again, or if you wanted to do something similar to use up your scraps of self-striping, because I think they're really pretty, what I would do is I would put in 4 rows of either the self-striping or the undyed, or whatever you're striping it with, at the point that you want to put the heel in, because then that gives you enough room to cut in for the heel without you snipping any of your carried yarn. So yeah. If anyone else can think of a way that I could have done it to make it easier other than that, please let me know. Please do leave a comment with any of your suggestions, or with any, you know, comments are well received. I love reading them, and I do take all advice. But yeah, so that was a mild disaster, but not one that I'm massively sad about, because they will be finished socks and they will be fine, and I will be showing those as finished socks on the next episode. And I have one more thing that I've been working on this week, which seems to have disappeared. Oh, it's in this bag. Oh, excuse me if I go a bit lower. I was sat on my foot and it's gone a bit to sleep. So the other thing that I cast on is another sweater. There isn't really, it's not very interesting to show you at this stage, because it's just a load of bunched up stockinette on a circular needle. But yeah, I decided to knit myself another boxy sweater, excuse me. The boxy sweater was actually the first sweater I ever knit for myself, which probably sounds crazy to anybody who knows what the boxy sweater is like. It is a massively oversized boxy sweater. It's a pattern by Hoki Locatelli. I'll put all the details on the screen. I loved this pattern, and yeah, although I knew that it was a massive sea of stockinette and I had never knit a sweater before, I figured the amount that I wanted the finished item would be motivation to knit it. And actually I knit it in a month. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I had done it in hand-dyed yarns, and I've worn it before on the podcast. It sort of fades in very bright colours. It's very much a yarn show sweater. But yeah, greys and rainbows, and it's very bright, but I love it. It's my first sweater. There are many mistakes in it, but the fit of it, and this time of year especially, is so nice to wear. So I really wanted another, well, I really want 5 more. And a while ago I had dyed some yarn. I don't think I've got another ball of this anywhere. I dyed this. Close up. That's pretty close to the actual colour. It's sort of pinky plummy, semi-solid. I think I'll show you on here. I dyed up 4 balls of this, which is what you need. It's fingering weight yarn. I think 3.25mm needles. Yeah, I dyed it up with this in mind, of making a boxy in mind. But when I caked up this yarn, I wasn't 100% sure about the colour. I thought it was too pink. And what I really wanted, don't know if I've got anything that's the colour to show you. The colour that I really wanted was like a really sort of dark, bright red. Dark, bright red. Does that make sense? You know when something is the most beautiful scarlet red? Absolutely as bright a red as anything, like pillar box red. Really bright. But then it's had a wash of black over it. So you can see how it's got that beautiful red coming through this black, because when you dye yarn, it's opaque. So even if you dunked, I'm thinking now, yeah, even if you dunked something beautiful and bright red into black dye, you would get some of that red coming through in ways. This is going to get cut because I'm waffling. But yeah, that was the colour I wanted, and this is definitely sort of more of a plum and a burgundy. But I was nearly finished Richard's sweater. It did get heavy towards the end knitting on that, and it was one of the moments where it's like I had quite a bit more knitting time that day, but that was hurting my hands to work on. So this was literally already balled up, and I knew that I wanted another boxy. And it's not a pattern, other than the cast on count, it's not a pattern that requires much thinking until you've knit this mass of stockinette. If I dropped a stitch. Yes. One more. You belong on that? No, you belong there. Let me just make sure this is safe. So yeah, you cast on the best part of 400 stitches, and you knit a tiny bit of rib. I did plan on knitting more rib, but I got very bored very quickly. And I think the pattern only asks you to knit 3 rows of rib. I knit 4. I went above and beyond. It's sort of, because I think on some people have found that it can flip up. I haven't had that problem with my first one until its latest wash, and then it started to flip up. So I did want to knit this a little bit longer. Technically 1 row is a little bit longer. No, I wanted to make it about 6 or 7 rows long, but after 4 rows I was like, well, really, is there any difference between 4 rows and 7? It's probably still going to flip up if I do 7 rows, and I don't want to do 7 rows of 400 stitches 1 by 1 rib. Yeah, because then after that you're just knitting round and round in stocking stitch forever and ever until it becomes the size of a tent. And then you work it flat, there is some shoulder shaping. It's just a lovely garment because it's just mindless sea of stockinette, and there's no rush for this. I would never want to knit something like this under a time pressure, because you don't want to slog through something. It should just be something that you pick up because that's what you want to do right now. You want to watch a film and just keep your hands busy so that you're not eating all the hobnobs. And yeah, or biscuit of your choice. Chocolate hobnobs are my biscuit of choice for snacking, although mainly my snacking is jelly sweets. Sucker for jelly sweets, especially the sour ones. But yeah, so I have cast on another boxy and I've done about 3 inches. I can't remember how far I've got to go. There will be a few weeks before I even measure and find out how far I need to go, because this will grow slowly. but it'll get there, and eventually this will be another boxy, and yeah, I'm really happy about that. So I'm actually enjoying the colour now I've started knitting it, but if it gets to the end and it's a bit pink or I don't 100% love it, I figure I can over dye it once it's a finished garment, and that might be quite fun to do. But yeah, so that is my final work in progress for this week, my boxy sweater. And I feel like I've had a couple of weeks of clearing things off the needles. This is a new cast on, the only new cast on really. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be casting on some new things in the next couple of weeks. I don't know how much longer of the lockdown period we've got coming up. I think our latest update will be on this Sunday coming. Hopefully they will relieve some of the restrictions just to allow families to actually spend time together. But yeah, hopefully some movement will be allowed from this Sunday, but I don't know. I'm only guessing. So the plan is to cast on another sweater, probably a colourwork sweater. I have a pair of socks, the pattern that I won in the competition from Dr. Sockstrap. That's awesome. To cast on, I have the cat moon mitts that I showed on the last episode. They will be getting cast on. I have the yarn balled up for those. Yeah, maybe getting the crochet blanket cast on. Don't know. If you have any pattern suggestions, please do leave a comment. The only thing I think I don't really knit are cowls. They're just not something I tend to wear. But other than that, I'm up for giving anything a try. I really want a good cardigan pattern. You know, I don't mind knitting and purling. It's just, I really want a good cardigan pattern. I also really want to do a cabled sweater for me now, but I have a few in my Ravelry queue. I will have put my Ravelry on before, but it'll be on the screen now. Just a little reminder, if you want to friend me on Ravelry, at some point I will actually get a Ravelry group set up for this podcast. But yeah, if you want to friend me, you can send me suggestions via there, or just comment, just leave a comment, and I definitely will have a look. So acquisitions, there are very few, but there are a couple, and the first is this, which is by Stripy Cat Yarns, and my mum sent me a message with a picture of yarn by Stripy Cat Yarn and said, "Have you seen this yarn? It's so pretty." My mum's not a massive knitter, but she is a big appreciator of hand knit socks, and she gets quite a lot of mine. And yeah, whenever she sees pretty yarn, she does send it to me. The picture. Although in this case, I was like, yes, it's very pretty yarn. I follow her on Instagram. I'm a big fan of self-striping yarn, as regular viewers will know. I have wanted to try her yarn for a long time, but yeah, especially at the moment, like with all the lockdown and stuff, paying my rent is more important than buying yarn. So I was like, even though it's pretty and I would love some, you know, and Mum said, well, she said she would get me some, and so she was like, well, we'll just get it and I'll sort it, and that's what she did. So I chose this one, which is the highlighter colourway, and it's 50g size, and you get a mini. You can choose 50 grams, you can choose 100 grams, you choose whether you want a mini or whether you don't want a mini. She has an Etsy shop, she has lovely colourways, and a 50g sock set like this will do you a pair of socks like that. That's exactly what I used for that, although I did substitute the opal for the mini. But if I'd used the mini, I might not have got as many rounds in the rib, but other than that it would have worked perfectly. So yeah, so that's what you can get out of a 50g sock set, and thank you Mum, it's very pretty, and it will also be getting cast on this week. But yeah, what else have I got? So on the last episode I picked up some minis from Siobhan's Crafts for my mitered square blanket. Hang on. Ooh. There we go, Siobhan's Crafts. And I also follow her on Instagram, but just because. Beautiful, beautiful yarn. And she put up an update, but she also said that she had some mystery kits going up. So for £20 you got a project bag and yarn and extras. And I thought, well, that's too good to pass up, really. Because, I mean, I think she said it could be minis, it could be 100 grams, it could be more, it could be, you know. But for £20, sometimes you need to give yourself a little prize. And at the end of last month, even though my income is greatly reduced with being in a lockdown situation in the furlough system, so I do not have my day job, I don't have any overtime coming in from that, so I'm literally relying on my crochet business to pay for all my rent and bills. And yeah, at the end of last month it was like all the money is in the bank for those. So I'm allowed a little treat. Just a little one. I treated myself to a yarny surprise from Siobhan's Crafts. And it came in this, so this is the project bag that I got. This was another thing that sold it to me because I am woefully short on project bags that I haven't made myself, so I need to add to my collection. But yeah, this is the one she sent me. It's her Dr. Neon one. She is a wonderful dyer of neons. And inside this bag is a little pin, which is the Siobhan's Crafts logo, which will go on one of my little things in the background there, but can sit there for now. And some little stitch markers, which are also on her card. So this little one says yarn, and this one is like a little snow globe full of glitter. Neither of which I can use at the moment because Puka will destroy them. I'm sure they're really sturdy, but she will eat them. It's not just the fact that she wants to eat them, it's the fact that any yarn that's in the way of this and her mouth gets also destroyed. But yeah, once she's grown out of that, I will look forward to using dangly stitch markers again, and they are very pretty. And then the yarn that came was DK, and it's so pretty. It is called Raspberry Chocolate, and it is a 75 merino, 25% nylon. It is deliciously squishy, and yeah, I mean, that just looks like, well, actually it looks like Black Forest Gatto cake, doesn't it? I know it's raspberry, but cherry. But yeah, it looks like chocolate and raspberry. And I actually thought this would make a really nice beeswax hat. But I also have some Tabby Cat by Stranded that I think that's already balled up, ready to go. But then this arrived and I was like, don't know. But yes, so that was my other acquisition. It's tempting to ball this up for the next hat, because the one that I'm currently working on, my Hallis hat, will be finished very soon, and I'll be showing that on the next episode. But yeah, so two things that I already want to ball up. But yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, I think that's everything for today. Hopefully I'll be back in a couple of weeks. Don't know what I'll have finished by then. Yeah, so if you've enjoyed the episode, please do give it a thumbs up, give it a like, leave a comment if you have anything you want to ask me, or yeah, if you've got any pattern suggestions, always really happy to get those. But yeah, I hope you are well. I hope everyone you know and love is well. This is a crazy, crazy time. Yeah, I am here. Puka is here. And yeah, we match. Have you noticed the yellow? Seriously have been spending way too much time just with cats. Yes, definitely been spending too much time around kittens. So it will be nice when things start slowly returning to more of a normal that we're used to. And yeah, get to see some humans again. But yeah, Cal has gone to sleep in the other room. She does get exasperated by this one quite a bit. But yeah. Say bye-bye, Puka. She's got a slight squint, have you noticed? In this eye. It's always slightly... That gives her a sort of I can't be arsed expression most of the time. It's adorable. She truly has the expression of a superior cat. But yeah, I think that's it for me, for Puka. Like I said, Cal went ages ago. But yeah, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye!